Part 2. Continuation of the cursed princess of the shadowed forest. Run down my spine. But why is she still here? Why is she taking people? Mama Ife's eyes met mine, and they were full of something I couldn't quite place, fear, maybe, or regret. She hates the living, she said. She can't bear to see people with what she lost. So, she lures them into her forest and keeps them there. Can we stop her? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Mama Ife shook her head. The curse binds her to the forest. As long as no one enters, she can't leave. But if you've seen her, if she's spoken to you, she might already have a hold on you. After that, I couldn't sleep. I felt like she was watching me, even when I was alone in my room. Sometimes, I'd hear strange sounds outside, soft whispers, footsteps that stopped as soon as I looked. One night, I woke up to a tapping sound on my window. My heart froze. I didn't want to look, but something made me. She was there. Princess Adesola, standing outside my window, smiling that same awful smile. Her black eyes stared right through me. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. I told you, she said, her voice as soft as a breeze. You'll stay with me forever now. The next thing I remember, it was morning. My window was open, and my room felt freezing even though the sun was out. I don't know how I'm still here. I don't know why she didn't take me that night. But I do know one thing. She's waiting. And someday, she'll come back for me. I tried to move on, to forget that night, but she wouldn't let me. Little things kept happening, things that reminded me she was still there. I'd find muddy footprints near my bed when I woke up, even though my room was spotless the night before. The whispers outside my window got louder, and sometimes, I thought I saw her shadow in the corner of my eye, only for it to vanish when I turned my head. The worst part was the dreams. They weren't just dreams anymore, they felt real. I'd find myself in the forest, walking the same twisting paths I'd taken that night. She'd always be there, standing just out of reach, watching me. You can't escape, she'd say, her voice soft and almost sweet. You belong to me now. I started avoiding sleep. But exhaustion caught up with me, and every time I closed my eyes, she was waiting. One night, I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I went to Mama Ife again. There has to be a way to break this, I begged her. She's not going to stop until she gets me. Mama Ife looked at me for a long time, her face etched with worry. Finally, she sighed and said, there's one way, but it's dangerous. If you want to break her hold, you have to go back to the forest. I froze. Go back. Are you serious? She's tied to that place, Mama Ife said. If you can find the heart of the forest, the place where she was cursed, you might be able to set her free. But it won't be easy. She'll try to stop you. I didn't want to go back, but I didn't have a choice. If I didn't do something, she'd take me, or worse, she'd go after someone else. The next night, I gathered my courage and headed into the forest. I carried a small lantern, and in my pocket, I had a charm Mama Ife gave me, a piece of wood wrapped in red thread. This will protect you, she had said, but her voice didn't sound confident. The forest was darker than I remembered. The trees seemed taller, their branches twisting together to block out the moonlight. The air was heavy, and every step I took felt like I was walking into a trap. It didn't take long for her to appear. She stepped out from behind a tree, her white dress glowing faintly in the darkness. You came back, she said, her voice calm but cold. Why? To end this, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She laughed, a sound that made my skin crawl. You think you can end this? You're just a boy. You don't understand the power of the curse. I didn't answer. I just kept walking, clutching the charm in my pocket. She followed me, her footsteps silent. You'll never find it, she said, her voice echoing around me. The forest is mine. It bends to my will. The path started twisting, the trees moving as if they were alive. I felt like I was going in circles, but I didn't stop. I couldn't. Finally, after what felt like hours, I stumbled into a small clearing. In the center was a large stone, covered in strange carvings. The air around it felt heavy, almost suffocating. "This is where it happened," she said, appearing beside me. Her voice had changed, there was a sadness to it now. "This is where I was cursed." I took a deep breath and stepped forward. "I'm setting you free," I said, holding up the charm. Her smile vanished. "No. You don't know what you're doing," she screamed, her voice sharp and panicked. The ground beneath me shook, and the wind whipped around the clearing. Shadows seemed to rise from the ground, clawing at me. But I held on to the charm and pressed it against the stone. For a moment, everything went silent. Then, there was a blinding flash of light, and the wind stopped. When I opened my eyes, she was gone. The forest was still and quiet, the air no longer heavy. I stumbled out of the woods, exhausted but alive. It's been years since that night. The forest is different now, still eerie, but no one disappears anymore. Sometimes, I walk past the edge of the trees and think I hear her voice, soft and distant. "Thank you," she says. I don't know if I freed her or just sent her somewhere else, but I haven't seen her since. And I hope I never do. But sometimes, late at night, when the wind rustles the trees or the shadows stretch a little too far, I wonder, did I truly set her free? Or is she still out there, waiting for someone else to wander too close to the forest she once called home? I don't know, and I don't want to find out. The end. Please subscribe for more interesting stories.